This video has been brought to you by ERS, Sacramento's most elite realty services. Log on to eliterealtyhub.com for more information or visit us at Facebook/Elite Realty Hub. Hello and welcome. It's a beautiful day in Roseville, California. We are here with the lovely Cristina Mendonsa. It's a pleasure to have you today. Thank you very much.
First
off, I want to thank you for being here, taking the time of your busy schedule. I know how busy you are, all the things you have to do.
Well, I'm honored to be here. I'm very excited about Mr. Latino magazine and eager to watch it grow in the Sacramento area. So I'm honored that I was chosen as one of your first interviews, so thank you.
Yes, it's a pleasure. So we're going to dive into these questions I got here from some of our viewers. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you grew up, and what are some of the things that you extracted from your previous experiences that you use in your daily life today?
Well, my first few years were spent in a small town called Los Banos, which is in the Central Valley. My folks are both from Los Banos. They grew up across the street from each other. And I have great memories of growing up in Los Banos, at least for the first few years. My father at the time had just gotten out of the Navy. We were living there. My grandparents, one was a rancher, dairy farmer. The other one was in law enforcement. They both spent their summers working in the cantaloupe packing sheds. And I got a real appreciation for what our state can produce and grow and where my food comes from. So it was a wonderful way to start life. And then we moved up to the Sacramento area. My father went into the state police, and he moved up through the ranks and became in charge of dignitary protection for several governors of the state of California. He did work for Governor Reagan, Governor Brown, Governor Duke Majan, and he spent a lot of time on the road traveling. So my mom was really, especially during the Brown years, my mom was really like kind of a single parent. And she really instilled in me a love of writing and research. She was very much into genealogy, and that taught me very early on where I came from, where my ancestors came from, and my background and my history, and gave me respect for that. The writing that she taught me encouraged me to be creative and artistic, and I think that's where, my journalism came from. By the time I got into high school, I had this research background, I had this writing background, and I figured out through speech and debate class I could make a living being a journalist, doing what I love to do. And I've been doing it since before I graduated high school professionally, so we're closing in on 30 years as a journalist.
Wow. That's excellent. That's awesome. When did you realize you wanted to be a journalist reporter? And what did it take for you to achieve all of your accomplishments?
Well, I started, I really got the bug in high school, but I knew when I graduated college, college wasn't a big deal in my family at that time. It wasn't an automatic that I was going to go to college. It was for me, but not so much for my parents, and we really weren't in a position financially for them to afford to be able to help me with college. So I knew I'd have to work my way through. And because I wasn't going to get to go to a big prestigious journalism college, I thought, well, when I start my college career, I'm going to keep my journalism career going. So I thought that way when I graduate high school or graduate college, I'll have experience and a degree to offer a potential employer. So I started at a junior college, American River College here, while I was still working in radio journalism. I ended up going to 8 different colleges before I graduated because I paid for it as I could.
Right, yeah.
And because radio and TV tends to be kind of a gypsy life, you're moving so much, I'd have to drop out and re-enroll and drop out and re-enroll. So I don't know if I can name them all, but I went to American River College, Cosumnes River College, I went to Modesto Junior College, I went to Shasta Junior College, I went to Sac State, I went to Metro College of Denver, I went to University of Colorado at Boulder and University of Colorado at Denver. And my undergraduate degree is from Sac State. Okay. So it's a government journalism degree.
That's awesome.
But it took me a while to cobble it all together, just financially. It was, and I really, when I talk to young people now, I say, graduate college, you can do it. Doesn't matter if no one gives you money. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, but you can work and put yourself through and not owe anyone anything when you're done.
Right. Did you feel it was beneficial that you attended all those colleges?
I do. I mean, I really got a chance to be exposed to a lot of different areas of the country and the state, and a lot of different ideas from professors. I mean, I'd have to say Sac State was the most influential. Joe Cerna was my professor at Sac State. At the same time, he was the mayor of Sacramento. So I'd be taking a class from him in the morning and then attending a city council meeting at night where I'd have to write about it for the radio station I worked for. So I really got a good perspective on life in the public eye and was able to question him more about that in the classroom. He was a very influential professor for me. Joe Cerna was a good man, and he did a lot for the city of Sacramento.
It's good to hear. What are some of the sacrifices that go with having such a demanding job? You know, you have 2 kids, married, gym time, you know?
Right.
How does all that work in your life?
Well, early on, I sacrificed a lot in terms of, the college experience. I mean, I really did not have the typical college experience, as I told you. So there were no parties for me. I was working 2 or 3 jobs. I was going to school. I was interning at radio and TV stations. And if I could give some advice to my younger self, it would have been to have a little bit more fun. Mm-hmm. I just was work. As I got older, I think I sacrificed more in sleep. Because I worked all these different crazy hours and then trying to fit school in and fit a personal life in. I really didn't have a lot of boyfriends because I just didn't have time for it early on. I happened to meet a man in Denver, my husband, who was very understanding of what I wanted out of my life, loved me despite it, and is probably the perfect spouse for me that I could have ever chosen. I mean, he's a wonderful man, and we've been married 20 years. We have 2 wonderful daughters who are both hard rock musicians. One of them is in a band that tours and plays in Sacramento on a regular basis. And I think because I chose a partner in life, in my husband, that was 50-50 with me all the way, I think that's the only way I could have done it. I always tell young people, the person that you choose to marry is the most important decision you will ever make. More than what college you go to, more than what you decide to do for a living, because that person is your teammate through life, and you have to know that you are on the same page.
Right, that's true. That's very true. I will definitely take that one. As a woman in your industry, have you seen any changes? And if so, what are any changes that have taken place?
A lot of times people talk about the pay disparity between men and women. I will be honest, I don't feel like I have felt that in my life. I feel like I have been given and great opportunity and rewarded by people of all backgrounds, ethnicities, and genders. I mean, I really have felt like I've worked very hard, and I've always been able to find mentors in my life, whether they be men or women, that have helped me along the way. I had one instance in radio of overt sexual harassment, and it was when I was very, very young, and I ended up leaving the job, and I never said anything to anyone about it. Looking back now, I would, but when I was still a teenager, my concern was finding money to pay the rent and pay my bills and getting another job. So I handled it in a way that I wouldn't handle it as a woman in my mid-40s. I'd be much stronger about it and take a much more active role in stopping what happened to me so it wouldn't happen to other women.
Yeah. All right, so we're going into our last question I got here. As our very first mover and shaker for Mr. Latino magazine, and Latina, as you guys are Latina, you're such a big role model, not just to anyone, but especially the young Latinas that are pursuing journalism and reporter career. Do you see yourself as that role model, or what are your thoughts on that? And what advice would you give to that young woman that might be watching you right now?
I love to talk to young women who want to go into this business or any business, and I do see myself as a role model. I try very hard to be one, and I have 2 teenage daughters, so I feel that role in my personal life and in my professional life. I'm in graduate school right now, and I'm going through a big phase in my life where I'm thinking a lot about the cultivation and application of character in business. And I would advise young women to find their motor early. Okay, everyone has a motor, whatever is your passion in life. Find that motor early and fuel it. Get your education. and listen to people that are older than you. Find mentors that are willing to help you. People are willing to help you if they see that you have a work ethic and that you are determined to get where you want to go. They will help you. So find mentors early. I would advise them. I would advise them, of course, finish college, no matter what it takes, and try to do it as much as you can on your own, because you will appreciate it so much more. I would say that when you reach a level of success, turn around and help someone else. Help pull up another young Latina. Help get her into the mix as well. So those would be my 3 things. Get your education, find mentors, and don't forget to help others when you do reach a level of success.
Right, okay. And I remember you said try to find out what it is that you're good at. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're passionate about. You know, everyone has, like, I see that motor in my daughter.
Right.
Yeah, I see that motor.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
How would you encourage them to find that? Because I know I come across a lot of young individuals that they simply don't know what they're good at yet, or their motor is yet.
Right.
How would you encourage them to find that?
Talk to people. Talk to people and read a lot. Talk to older people. Find out what they do and how they do it and why they like to do it. You know, when I was first starting in this business and I didn't know much about, my personal style on the air and how I was going to be, I kind of adopted the mannerisms of people at the network that I saw, that I liked, that I respected. And then pretty soon that kind of morphed into, I wasn't doing them anymore, I was doing me. It was my own style. And I think that you have to look to people that you respect and admire, and that should motivate you on that path. I think a lot of young people feel like, okay, I'm at A, Z is where I want to be, how do I get there? And what they don't realize is everyone's path is different. You just have to keep incrementally moving toward Z. You have to incrementally move, whether by making the best decisions with the best information you have at the time.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, I so appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure to have you here. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.